Good morning, everyone. Uh, I'm beginning to. I've written quite a few books already, and I've never videoed a book, but I plan on doing my autobiography. I've been requested from a publishing company, and it's a true story of my life. And when I say my life, it's quite a story there. And so I would like to just hope that this might touch some people's lives. I'm going to do it in small segments, and try to do the best I can. And it's been 20 years since I've been out of prison. I've been living a great life, crime free, and living in the state of Maine, up in the county. It's a beautiful place. I have a lovely friend in my life who has blessed me more than I can imagine, and she knows my entire life. I have gone through a lot of things over the years that have happened. It's like your life never leaves you. I always remember Merle Haggard's song "Branded Man," left out in the cold. And that's not trying to feel self pity for me because I deserved everything that I got in my life, and I can never change my past, but I can change myself, which I did do. It took many years of therapy and hard work to change my life. And none of my past of being sexually abused, physically abused, is an excuse for going out and hurt people. But let me say this, I've never harmed any children other than my own children. And what I mean by harming them is I took their daddy away from them and put myself in prison. So to me, that's abuse. And I'll live with that for the rest of my life. And so the 20 years have gone on, and I've had many things happen over the past 20 years. One thing, I'm getting older and need glasses, and and but it hasn't been easy trying to adjust. When I went to prison, I was illiterate. I was like a seventh grader, could barely read or write. And when I finally got there, and I had 50 years at the first time, and I thank God I never killed anybody because I very well could have. But I started reading and educating myself and taking high school courses, and eventually I wanted to change my life, so I needed to understand me and understand education before I could even begin to do that. If you put a person away in prison, if they're not going to be there for the rest of their life, if you don't do anything to help them change, they're going to come out an animal, a lot worse than they were before they went in. And my prayer to God was, never let me out of this place until you know that I'm healthy and I'll never hurt anyone or myself again. And I think 20 years in society has proven that. I've had my ups and downs. I haven't been perfect, but I have been crime free of hurting people. And if that doesn't show that I've changed, I don't know what will ever show that. But as I studied and studied, I got my GED, and then I got my high school diploma, and then I went on to do 2 years of college. I did many computer skills, learned the basics of the computer. I couldn't get online because of the place where I was. I was blessed that my sentence got knocked from 50 years down to 30, which I did do 30 years, and it was the worst thing in my life became the best thing in my life. I needed to be locked up. I needed to be for society's sake and for my own sake and my family's sake. I was out of control. And like I said, anything I share in my past will never be an excuse for what I did or the people I've hurt. And I'll live with that the rest of my life. And but I have been blessed to be out of prison for 20 years. So this would be the beginning of my book, and uh, I could go on and on about the last 20 years, and maybe I will. But I would like to. This is the beginning, and I'd like to dive back into why people are born as little children. That little child isn't born evil. That little child isn't born crazy or violent. Something had to happen for that child to become so angry as they were and hurt people. Not an excuse. I truly believe that When you become an adult, you're responsible for your actions, no matter what has happened to you, and you're also responsible to pay any debt to society that you in crimes that you committed. Excuse me. And so I had to take that journey in my life. As I got educated, I did many different types of therapy myself because there were no programs at the time in the prison system. I studied myself. I studied what was wrong with me, and as I realized, my whole belief system was pretty messed up. Well, I'm going to end this little segment to where I I knew that I had been abused as a child, but I dissociated from it and compartmentalized it and put it in a part of my brain. It would only come out when I would take drugs and drink, and I'd become very violent. And so I had to take a journey into that compartment and take that little boy's hand and tell him that, no one's going to hurt you anymore, and I'll protect you. Because that little boy, when I was hooked on drugs and alcohol, that little boy would come out when I was impaired and play. And he was very violent, and he used my grown body to act out in. And I let him do it. So I had to take a journey within myself, change my entire belief system, and believe me, I had a belief. You don't think beliefs and mindsets and attitudes are important? I had a belief that the world's not fair, so I'm not going to be fair. I want what I want, and I want it now, and I'm going to take what I want, no matter what the cost. I didn't love my little children. They were objects to me like furniture, like getting a new car. But if anybody ever hurt my children, I would beat them up so bad. Uh, but I didn't love them as a daddy should love them in my heart. They were objects. Everybody in my life were objects. Because when you shut down your feelings as a little child because of pain, you also shut down a very important feeling, and that's empathy. When you shut down empathy in a person's life, you become dangerous because you become apathetic, and then you take it out on the world. Every little thing that triggers you, and it's going to come out on the world. And it did come out on the world, and it took me many years. And I thank God that I was finally confined for the amount of time. I did short beds and bigger beds, and then the big one. I had to hit bottom, and that's what it took. I was a wild horse that needed to be broken, and I was broken. And but that journey to change took a lot of hard work. And people can go to therapy on the outside, and they can never get the help that they get like I was able to inside. Study for hours and hours and hours, and attend every kind of programs come in. I took every one of them. I wanted to know what was wrong with me. I had one-on-one therapy for many years, to the point where my therapist was afraid of me because I thought he was trying to hurt me, and I'd become very angry. And I'd blurt out and show my anger. And I was very violent, very strong. He told me one day, he says, I almost gave up on you, Gene. He said, you scared me. He said, but I held in there. And so here I am. I am alive. Maybe I don't deserve to be alive. But I'm grateful that I am, and I won't hurt people. I'll do the best I can to give back and help people, not to hurt people. And that's what all my books are written about. So I'm going to end this little segment here, right here, and I'll continue it. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another tape. I thank you all for listening, and you all have a wonderful day.